He said, "Dear ones, you cannot know the joy, the peace, the great bliss you have given me in awakening me as you have. Just a moment ago it was all dark. I stood, fearing to go on, and yet I could not return. The only way that I can explain it is I seemed engulfed in a great blackness from which I suddenly seemed to awaken, and now I am again with you." Here his face became so radiant with joy that there was no mistaking his sincerity. Then he turned to us and said, "Dear ones, how I love to think of our association. You can never know the joy it has given me to have clasped your hands, the great joy it has given me to see and know and feel the sincerity with which you have accepted these, my dear helpers, who at this moment I am able to call divine. Could you see through my eyes at this moment, you would be able to know the bliss that I am experiencing. The greatest joy of all is to know so fully that each of you will stand and know just as I am standing and knowing. That joy you will know only when you stand as I stand. I can say that it is well to have lived a full life, to be able to enjoy one moment of this. Then to think that I can see all eternity unfolding. Do you wonder when I say that my eyes are almost blinded and I am dazed with the revelation? Do you wonder at my great longing to unfold this vision to you, and not only to you, but to every brother and sister in the whole wide universe of God? Dear brothers, if I could lay a transforming hand upon you and lift you to where I stand, it seems that my joy would be multiplied many-fold at this moment. I am shown I must not do that. I am shown that you, yourselves, must stretch forth this transforming hand, and when you have stretched it forth, you will find God's hand ready to clasp yours. You will be able to walk and talk with him, and God will eternally bless you as he does all. The greatest joy of all is, I am shown, that it does not matter what the caste or creed of church, all are welcome. In a moment he had disappeared from our view, just faded away, it seemed to us. Was this an ethereal vision? All my associates concluded that it was not, for two of them had clasped this man's hand. I leave it to the reader to decide. Then one of our friends from the village turned to us and said, "I know that you are doubting, but won't you understand that this was not staged for your benefit? This is but one of the emergencies in our lives, and when the emergency does arrive, we are able to come up over the emergency. This dear one had not been able in his own strength to quite surmount the divide, as you call it. In fact, as you can see it, he had passed on. The soul had left the body behind, and one so enlightened can be helped at the crucial moment, so that the soul returns and the body finishes its perfection. Then the body can be taken along. This brother longed too ardently to pass on, and he left his body when just a few more steps, as it were, helped it over the divide, and the perfection was complete. The help extended was our great privilege." We slowly withdrew our arms and stood for a full minute in absolute silence. One of our party broke the silence with the words, "My Lord and my God." As for me, it did not seem as though I should ever want to talk again. I wanted to think. We were all seated, and a few had found their voices and were conversing in low tones. This condition had lasted for 15 or 20 minutes, and nearly everyone was engaged in general conversation, when one of our party walked to the window. He turned and said there seemed to be strangers arriving in the village. We all went down to meet them, as it was a rare occurrence for strangers to visit the village at this season of the year, and on foot, as it was just past midwinter. When we arrived, we found that it was a party from a smaller village about 30 miles down the valley. They had brought a man who had lost his way in a storm 3 days previous, and had been nearly frozen. His friends had carried him on a stretcher all that distance through the snow. Jesus stepped close, and, placing his hand upon the man's head, stood for a moment. Almost instantly the man threw off the wrapping and rose to his feet. His friends, when they saw him stand, stared at him for an instant, then ran from the scene in terror. We could not persuade them to return. The man who was healed seemed dazed and uncertain. 2 of our friends persuaded him to go with them to their home, while our party, accompanied by Jesus, returned to our quarters. After we were comfortably seated, Jesus proceeded with the conversation. When we stand one with the sum of all intelligence, and recognize ourselves as an actual part of that intelligence, and know conclusively that this is the great principle, God, we shall soon find ourselves conscious of the fact that all intelligence throughout the whole cosmic universe is working with us. We also realize quickly that the intelligence of all great genius, as well as the little mentality of the single cell of the body, is working with us in perfect harmony and accord. This is the one great intelligent cosmic mind that we are positively allied with. Indeed, we are that very mind. We are the self-consciousness of the universe. The instant we feel this very thing, nothing can keep us from the Godhead. From this universal consciousness we can draw all knowledge. We know that we can know all without studying and without process of reasoning, not going from one lesson to another, nor from one point to another. The lessons are necessary only in order to bring us to the attitude in which we can step forth into this thought. Then we become comprehensive and include all thought. There is a complete stream of motivating thought that is irresistible, and we know that nothing can divert us from true accomplishment. We are with the whole, thus we move on irresistibly with the whole. It is impossible for any condition to keep us from our accomplishment. The drop of water is only weak when it is removed from the ocean. Replace it, and it is as powerful as the whole ocean. It matter not whether we like it or whether we believe it. It is intelligent law, and we are that very thing. The sum of all truth is the great principle, God. Everything from eternity to eternity, whether we think it is a great truth or a little truth, every true word, thought, or spoken, is a part of the great truth, one great all, one universal truth, and we are that very thing. When we realize this oneness and stand absolutely with truth, we have the whole of the truth back of us, and our irresistibility is increased. It is the force of the ocean back of the wave that gives the wave its power. That, too, is but a portion of God's force, which man also is. The sum of all love is the great principle, God. It is the sum of every affection, every fervent emotion, every loving thought, look, word, or deed. Every attracted love, great or small, sublime or low, makes the one infinite love stand forth, and nothing is too great for us. As we love unselfishly, we have the complete ocean of cosmic love with us. That which is thought least is greatest, as it sweeps on to absolute perfection. Thus the whole universe of love is consciously with us. There is no greater power on earth or in heaven than pure love. Earth becomes heaven. Heaven is humanity's true home. Finally, the sum of every condition, every form, every being is the one infinite cosmic principle, God, whether it be individuals, worlds, planets, stars, atoms, electrons, or the most minute particles. All together make one infinite whole, the body of which is the universe, the mind, cosmic intelligence, the soul, cosmic love. Woven together as a whole, their bodies, minds, and souls are held together with the cohesive force of love. Yet each one functions in eternal individual identity, moving freely in its own individual orbit and octave of harmony, attracted, drawn, and held together by the love of that universe of harmony. We constitute that great being that nothing can thwart. It is made up of every unit of humanity, as well as every unit of the universe. If a portion of one unit excludes itself from the whole, it makes no difference to principal being, but it makes a vast difference to the unit. The ocean is not conscious of the removal of the drop of water, but the drop is very conscious of the ocean when it is returned or reunited with it.